Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 465 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I had to think about that for a second. I'm Tyler. Join me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. I pretty much am excited because it's the weekend here while we're recording, and also because I get a chance maybe to play some bit of games this week, as opposed to not feeling motivated to go forth and actually play a lot of games this week. But it's one of those weird things where you try to get yourself into wanting to play something. I mean, I
Yeah.
dabbled maybe a little bit with Tekken 7, a little bit of the practice modes. I finally deleted the game off my PS5 because I really wanted to try to focus upon other stuff I got. But yeah, I'm playing little games like maybe here and there and stuff. But mostly, it's been like a long work week. It's been sort of draining because the weather and everything else is all rainy. It's all muggy. It's all this and that and shit. Plus, when you get home, it's like when I've been getting home the past couple nights, if I'm not like having something major to do, I'm fucking just knocked out by like about 10 o'clock, and it's just me either just sitting in bed like watching YouTube stuff or fucking watching something and then just crashing.
Yeah.
Or the funniest part about it is like watching other people play games or something, where it's like you go on to like a Twitch or literally me last night where I'm in bed watching some dude try to speed run through like the Saturn version of Symphony of the Night and just discovering that there's like different types of areas and new weapons and stuff that because he's playing through the Japanese version of it because
Okay.
that was the version that was released in Saturn only, and I was in Japan, and it's supposed to run a little bit. The thing about it, it runs slower because of the whole like a processing speed of the Saturn itself. But he's doing
That's the Sega system.
Yeah, so he's doing it like in like an emulated format, because he doesn't own a Saturn from that region, doesn't have that imported that game. But it was fascinating watching little bits of that because you see like a other area or something that was not available in the North American release for like the PlayStation. It was like a hidden area, hidden from the start, like a different boss, like a boss in the main area, different types of enemies, including like one freaking creepy looking damn tree that just like it's like I kid you not, like about 7 or 8 feet tall. It has like a freaking crazy, like smiling face and stuff, and it has like fucking fruit or something hanging down on his branches and stuff that drop off when you hit it. It's just one of those type of nights and stuff where I just wanted to chill and watch someone play a game.
Yeah, I understand that. It's like, man, I really want to play games, but I'm too tired to play games. I'm just gonna watch somebody else do it.
Oh, yeah, but other than that, though, it's just a typical work week. Pretty busy, pretty this and that. But how have you been doing, Tyler?
About the same. Pretty tired. It's post Black Friday and all that Saturday, Monday, so work's gonna get nuts. Um, but yeah, I've been kind of with you, where it's like this week coming home from work, it's still not over. Daylight savings time, never gonna get over that. Um, get home and it's been dark out for a while,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I've been about the same, where it's like, and even to like, you're talking about like trying to motivate yourself to play a game. Like that was definitely me today, where it's like, oh, it's the weekend, I want to do some gaming. I'm like, I don't really got anything to play, and plus I don't like a couple things like I've like want to start the like or like some backboard like I want to replay like I've had like Hellblade downloaded on my Xbox for a while. I beat the game when it first came out,
Yep.
but I've been wanting to play through it again, and a couple things. So I'm like, oh, fucking Halo's on Wednesday, so I'm like, I don't really want to. That's it's like it's always sucks when like you're like right in between games. You're just like kind of waiting to start. There's something coming up soon. You're excited to play it, but it's like I don't want. But I like it doesn't like it's the weekend. I want to play games, but I don't really want to start anything because I'm not gonna. If I don't finish it this weekend, I'm not gonna be able to. Then it's not getting done.
Yeah.
I think so. You just like I'm just not even gonna bother. Um, so that's where I'm at. Cause I did finish Deathloop earlier in the week, so
Nice.
which I'll talk about a little later. So that's kind of why I'm like in between games right now. So yeah, but other than that, just clanging and banging as always, Gables. Nothing too crazy with me. Just more of that. Um, Iowa's in the Big Ten championship game. It's not going great. I haven't looked at the score in a while. I'm gonna do it right now. Okay, it's worse than I thought. All right, I regret doing that now. Yeah, that was wow. That was a gut punch. I wish I wouldn't have looked at that now. But yeah, other than that, I'm doing okay. Yeah. So, anyways, though, we are here to talk about video games. But before we do that, I do want to mention if you're listening to us and you like us so far, and you like what you're going to hear soon, please, wherever you're listening to us at, please like, share, subscribe, 5 stars, comments, whatever you can do. We really appreciate it. If you're listening to us on one place, we're available everywhere, wherever pods are cast. We're on YouTube. We're on all those places. 5 stars, comments, like, share, subscribes. If you're on YouTube watching us, we really appreciate it. The like button is over in this. Well, it's backwards. My camera. Over. No, I'm still doing it backwards. Over. God, I'm still doing it backwards. That way. No, that way. There we go. That was really hard. Right there. Right there. Where Gables' junk is located, that is the like button. So click that button and he'll do the little Pillsbury Doughboy thing. Wherever he is, he'll be at work, like, helping a customer. Woohoo! That's what he's gonna do.
Yes.
Woohoo! There you go. Yeah. If Mario and Pillsbury Doughboy had I don't know why that was really
helping
difficult.
an old lady or something, it's like with their donations, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh, hello there, ma'am.
Woohoo!
She just hands me a box.
Woohoo! It's my ticket in a box.
Just randomly, I'm just like going through and like pricing stuff with my coworkers around their workstations. All of a sudden, they just hear this.
Gables, I'm gonna Photoshop your head on Pillsbury Doughboy with the Mario mustache now.
Oh my god.
That's gonna be the thumbnail for this podcast now. Thank you for that. Anyways, please do all that if you like that and my stupidity of trying to point in the wrong direction by continuing to point in the wrong direction. Please do all those things for us. We really appreciate it. That's kind of dumb shit here you can expect on this podcast that we do for fun. But is this the 465th? It is. Okay. I started second guessing myself. God damn.
It's 465.
Yes. The looking at the Iowa scores really fucked me up. Should not have really regretted that right now. It's not going great, guys. Don't do it. Just don't do it. They won. Just go with that. Just say they won. Anyways, though, let's move on to some video games and why we're here. Actually, it's a pretty light week, and I'm like, God, I don't know. It's, like, I have a couple of things on the back burner we could throw in here to talk about, but there's not a lot. Then Friday came, Jason Schreier came out, dropped an article, and that was godsend because podcast made whenever Jason Schreier drops an article over at Bloomberg. So he announced that PlayStation has it's codenamed Spartacus, and it is a Game Pass-like service that they are expected to launch in spring. It'll have 3 tiers. Tier 1 would just be what PlayStation Plus is right now. So you get the play online, party chat. I'm assuming still the free games we get every month. The second would offer a large catalog of PS4 and eventually PS5 games. Also part of this, I should mention that there is no plans of adding PlayStation first party games day one. And then tier 3 would add extended demos, game streaming, and a library of PS1, 2, 3, and PSP games to this. No idea how this is going to work with PlayStation Now. Like if that's just going to be tier 2 and 3 to a certain extent, or if PlayStation Now will just kind of go away. We don't really have any idea of that. This is, like I said, this is all just kind of new news dropping. But I mean, Gables, when you heard this news, what was your overall reaction to all this?
So I got a text message from my friend like yesterday.
Is this the one about how the Lions might still make the playoffs?
No, that was something that was earlier on that day.
Okay.
But
Gables, I just want to real fast. Gables got a text message from his friend explaining all the things, the 93 things that would need to happen for the 10-1 Lions to make the playoffs this year, and it's not great. Go on, Gabe. I'm sorry.
It's basically a 0.1% chance. But anyway, I got a text message from my friend, the other text message that day, saying that, oh, hey, yeah, it's going to be like a Game Pass like subscription or something like that, where you can play PS1, PS2, and PSP games. It's like, okay, where'd you learn this and stuff like that? And he just replies to me later on, like quoting some website, and I just like, I'm going to dig into this. So I go forth and eventually find the information and stuff like that. But the the thing about this news, we knew going in from like the rumor mills and stuff that PlayStation was cooking up some form of a Game Pass thing. What was the most surprising is Jason Schreier going in depth to getting more details of it and when it could potentially be, when it could launch, how it would go through. The only thing that really wasn't set was like price points from what it looks
Yeah.
like. But the initial thought was, okay, I'm not surprised that this is happening, but at the same point, adding, I think the most surprising factor, other than like say the details of it, is stuff is just hearing potentially like say PSP games being available or something like that, the streaming stuff. Because when I think about this whole tier list type of thing right at the moment, the last thing I was thinking about is okay, having handheld games or something like that at the forefront, one of the tiers makes sense. But
Mm.
from looking over this tier thing right now, the three tiers and stuff of the supposed Game Pass like thing, it's like it's going to be normal PlayStation Plus stuff for the first tier, and then it looks like a PlayStation Now sort of thing. Only difference is it's like PlayStation 5 games that are downloadable from that type of service being being subscribed to both PlayStation Plus and also PlayStation Now separately. The thing about PlayStation Now that holds that thing back predominantly is the availability of obviously more recent games, and on top of that, the selection of back catalog stuff. It's highly varied for PS4 content. You can actually go forth
Mm.
if you want to stream them, you can, but that option to download is definitely the major portion of why people have PlayStation Now, because you can go through and get some big name games and stuff downloaded, but the thing about Sony is their first party games that they make available is only available for maybe a couple of months at most,
Yeah.
give or take what first party
Like they
title.
just put like Last of Us Part Two just went on there like I think last month,
And that
and who
game
knows how
had
long
been
it's gonna be on
released
there.
over a year at that point, so it's like that
Yeah.
was pretty much the most recent in terms of game release things, like a year ago or something, that they're putting a PlayStation Now on PlayStation Now right at this moment to give to their customers and stuff. But PlayStation 5 games, that wouldn't be a surprising thing for me eventually. I mean, hell, they may not do it day one, like day and day, like say what Microsoft is doing with their content, but at the same point, it's like if you have that process of more PlayStation 5 games eventually being downloadable and playable, that's going to be huge for a lot of gamers that have went in and bought a PS5, because the thing about it is the shell shock things of some of the first party content. It's like there may be some that do want to pay that $70 plus like price tag for some of their first party games, but more or less, it's like if you get that system and stuff, you're pretty much kind of shell shocked for a lot of the PS5 content. If say you're just now investing in that PlayStation system, you know, so if you say going into buying a PS5, if this is like your first PlayStation console, having this sort of like a Game Pass type of tier to where, okay, let's say that you pay $100 a year or something like that in order to have these like this tier two or tier three type of thing for the entire year, and then have access to say, oh hell, I don't know, maybe download Demon Souls with PS5 or something like that, which was PS5's first major showcase in regards
Yeah.
to when it launched last year. But having options like that from the get go, just subscribing similar to how you would do with Game Pass with a lot of their content and stuff, yeah, that would be huge for plenty of like gamers just coming into that ecosystem. More or less, if it's like gamers that have owned multiple games across multiple different consoles of PlayStation's ecosystem and stuff, investing inside of this stuff, it's like it's a totally different type of feel and stuff. But well, lastly, if the tier three with the whole aspect of the PlayStation 1, 2, potential 3, and like PS like P games and stuff like that, that would be huge to a specific point. If it's like PlayStation Now to where they have a handful of say PS2 or PS3 games or some, like if they're doing it like they are doing it now for PlayStation Plus with maybe 10 PS2 games, maybe not even that at most, plus all their PS3 content being streamable because of it not being emulated correctly with not like say emulated correctly, but be having to emulate the software of the PlayStation 3 in order to run some of those games through stream and stuff like that, then I could see this potentially being kind of a downer with that. It really depends. It really depends on what Sony has able to go through and renewed the licensing of specific games for each system, especially the PlayStation Portable, because there are a lot of niche games to the PSP that a lot of players maybe want to go through and play. Obviously, I mean,
Hmm.
hell, there are definitely a lot of good games that could be available from the launch from like particular systems, from like Square Enix, from like Ubisoft, from hell the first party thing directly. I mean, we know God of games like God of War are going to be available day one, that type of a service for tier three. I mean, God of War 1, 2, 3. I mean, potentially like Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta in that regards. Just a whole bunch of like first party content we would assume would be their day one. But the thing about it is, even though they have so many consoles and stuff, that's not necessarily mean it's going to be like a verbose, like vast library game one. I mean, day one. Hell, let's look at the Nintendo Switch's online thing, for example, to where when that first launched for their NES and their Super Nintendo stuff, they had like a hodgepodge, maybe like about 20 some odd games of the NES, maybe like this and that, but they expanded whenever they felt like in regards to trickling some bits of their back catalog and stuff. Sony, they have that type of luxury too, to where they've been in the gaming industry now for like over, God bless, like over 20 years now at this point.
25
25,
plus over
yeah.
25.
Yeah, about 25. They went in like around 94 in the US, I want to say. 94, 95. Yeah, I think it was around that.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah. But the thing about it is because they have sort of a similar kind of in-depth like back catalog in that regards, it's like there's no real big pressure to get that all done from the start. So my initial thought of like in general is like I would be glad to see a Game Pass thing eventually come out for the PlayStation like console. How PlayStation Now would fare after that, it's that name's going to go forward and be swept under the carpet. It's going to merge into PlayStation Plus because they don't really advertise a lot of PlayStation Now unless it's some sort of major promotion for like one of their first party games and stuff. We saw it with God of War, we saw it with like Horizon Zero Dawn and stuff, and we've saw it recently with Last of Us Part Two. It was like, hey, you want to play Last of Us Part Two? And stuff. Get game PlayStation Now. Subscribe for the year, do this and that. But I could see a potential PlayStation Now merging inside PlayStation Plus and stuff, and having like something of a PlayStation Plus like one or plus two or like plus three, and representing the different tiers or whatsoever, and having it done that way. But I like the idea. Not sure if they're going to go forth with the execution day one, but it's definitely a good it's definitely a good type of competition for Game Pass, though it remains to be seen if they are going to be readily equal in that regards to Game Pass come day one. But what are your thoughts about this, Tyler?
Um, I mean, I think you can't. It's hard to complain about, obviously, unless like the pricing gets out of control. Um, yeah, but I mean, a lot of people say they need to do it. I don't know if they didn't really. I don't think they really need to do it for current, more current games. Like I think like they should definitely do it for like the older games. Like do a better job of it because like the PlayStation Now thing is just. I mean, it seems like it does pretty well, but it's never really taken off. Like I said, they don't do the best job of advertising it, even though they do add some pretty spectacular games on there. Because we were just talking about like Last of Us Part 2 is on there right now, and I would bet most people don't know it. And then just like with the fact you have to stream everything but PS4 games is kind of shitty. But I'm just kind of looking at it. I'm like, the PlayStation Collection that comes with the PS5 if you have PS Plus, we have 20 first party games from PlayStation 4 that you could play for free on your PS5. I mean, I would put those 20 games up against 20 games on Game Pass, and I don't think it holds a candle against them. You got like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, you got Persona 5, Last of Us Part 1, Mortal Kombat 10. I mean, it's a fantastic list of games. I was looking at earlier today just because I was like,
Right.
what's on here? And I was looking, I'm like, God, this is like, I mean, if you just didn't have a PS4, you just skipped the generation, you'd be set. There's like a solid like 2 years of gaming right there,
That's
of
exactly the
just like
point. I mean,
without you having to buy a new game, of just like great quality games on there. And they're all first party PlayStation games from last generation. Um, so I imagine that's gonna stick with PS Plus, which that's a pretty good fucking list. Um, but yeah, I think it's just really how they do it in the forefront, how serious they're gonna be about it, advertising it, pushing it, allowing me to download those older games, because I think that's a big thing that they really need to be able to do is being able to actually install those things on there. Like I've never used Game Pass or used PS Now. Sorry, I have Game Pass, but PlayStation Now I've never used it. I've been tempted lately because I want to play Metal Gear Solid 4 on there.
right.
I've heard iffy things on how well the streaming aspect works, but I just the downloading part would be great. How big are these PS4 and PS5 games going to be? Like I don't I don't because EA Play is already on with Game Pass, so that's out the window. Um, like I don't know. Like are we talking about like if we're talking about like good indie games, that would make me and I think a lot of people very excited. Like to me, like the indie games honestly is just as like having good solid indie games to go to constantly. To fill in those gaps of big releases is probably just as important as having a couple of bigger releases on Game Pass that we get a year. Like
Right.
like I've when we do like I look at like my game of the year contender list, and it's just riddled with of like games that like I double A games or indie games that I played on Game Pass, and they were fucking fantastic, and
Hmm.
might not I probably wouldn't have played them if they weren't on there, or I was gonna buy them anyways, and now I don't have to. Like having solid games like double A, and like that'd be a really good place for those games to live, I think. Um, but if you want to get you want to get the bigger fish, you want to get the bigger people out there. Like yeah, you gotta get some solid AAA games on their deal, and you got like like Game Pass with Back for Blood. Like PlayStation doesn't have that type of backing. They don't have Microsoft behind them to get those to pay that type of money, and they can't. This needs to be profitable for them. This at least in the near future. Like Xbox can afford to lose money on Game Pass because this is like they're building towards something. Like Netflix literally just started turning a profit. I think last year or this year, after like almost 20 years in service. Even as popular as they've been, like they just now started becoming profitable, um, because they're putting all that money out there, spending all that money to get content and make content, and I seen some people upset about the whole not bringing first party games to this PS Plus, whatever you want to call it, service, and I think that'd be awesome if they did that. I would obviously, who can complain about that? But if you look at it, it would be idiotic for them to do that.
Yeah,
It would be
absolutely.
idiotic for Nintendo to do that,
It would definitely
because
be.
yeah, like because you look at like, and this isn't even a fanboy thing. I love my Xbox. I love Game Pass. I talked about last week. I probably played Game Pass. I probably played Xbox more this year than I have my PlayStation. If you don't count Madden, I have definitely played my Xbox more than my PlayStation. Um, I love it. But like the first party games on PlayStation sell extremely well. God of War, they announced last month, has sold 19.5 million copies. Spider-Man, the Spider-Man 2018 has sold over 15 million copies, probably around 20 at this point.
I don't
Miles
know.
Morales has sold about is probably we don't have numbers yet, but we know it's close to 10 million.
Hmm.
Horizon Zero Dawn has sold probably around 10 million. We haven't heard numbers in a long time, but that was doing like it was like last we heard it was like 7 8 million. So Ghost of Tsushima launched and did like 3 million in the first month it was out. Last of Us Part 2 was the fastest selling PlayStation exclusive of all time. Um, like their games sell and they sell extremely well. It'd be and you look at last generation where like they're putting out these games like Halo Wars 2. I know it's not the Halo,
Mm-hmm.
and Halo isn't what it was, but Halo Wars 2 I don't even think I remember like the first month it was out, it sold a couple 100,000 copies. Like not
Wow.
great, not good, not great. Um, and like I don't know. I'm curious what Halo's 5 numbers are if they're out there. But there's a reason why Xbox stopped giving out numbers last generation for the console sales and game sales, because they just weren't selling. And this was like when you're losing, you have to do this thing. PlayStation isn't losing, so they don't have to. If things flip this year or this generation, which very likely can, because all three, for the first time ever in our lifetime, or in gaming, all three uh, console makers are doing very well, and all three have had very good years this year. And you can argue last year was a very good year for them, for all three of them. So it's like all three are doing really well. So no one's like doing, no one, there's no like, oh, this is the obvious one, the obvious two, and then here's three all the way down here. Like they're all doing all on equal footing. So it's anybody's generation right now.
It feels extremely weird. I'll just be putting it right out there
Yeah,
right now
right.
because we're so used over the past 20 some odd years of one console maker, one console being completely inside the lead and stuff with something that goes forth and revolutionizes the industry in some way, shape, or form, either be a cluster of games or specific features that leads to an evolution of the gaming landscape in and of itself. This is the first
Yeah.
real generation where it feels like all three major console companies from Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony look like they were just neck to neck because of all of them being successes for three different reasons. It's like
Yeah.
with Nintendo, it's their back catalog and how popular the Switch has been in regards to the
Yep.
portability aspect and also in terms of like the strength of their core franchises and stuff doing incredibly well for the first party sales. And it's part of the reason why if Nintendo were to go into some sort of a landscape in this kind of same foray as a Game Pass type of stuff, you better believe they would not try to do anything in the first party things towards like day one because they make so much hand and foot when it comes to their first party games selling in a complete like $50 or $60 type of things that's the reason why not a lot of them drop in price. But you go from that, then all of a sudden with Microsoft, with the biggest strength right now is that Game Pass stuff with the day and
Mm-hmm.
date and stuff with their content releasing day one and all this other stuff, plus giving a
And
lot of
first party games are finally coming.
yes, exactly. And now their first party games are starting to fluctuate in the 2022, the late 2021, 2022 timeline right here. Now they're starting to increase with their first party content, and now we're going to be seeing the strength of what potentially now is going to be with them having near like almost near an amount in terms of like first party content releases as they would have had say god last I can think about it the consistency was like in the 360 generation in that regards. So
Yeah.
you have the Game Pass stuff, and then you have PlayStation with another entirely different type of subset of how well they're doing right now. And that's predominantly with the hardware in terms of PS5 and how popular that is. But it's more or less the whole touting of like how strong their core franchises are right at this moment in time. The whole 4K, like the evolution of say with God of War, Horizon, and like Ratchet and Clank with Spider-Man and stuff. They did a great job advertising that PS5 system to begin with its unveil until its eventual core franchises they wanted to nail down. So it has a bit to do with like sort of similarities with Nintendo to where a lot of their classic franchises and stuff they advertise with, but at the same time you have the hardware and stuff that they push out like hand and foot, you know, like in the forefront that's got so many gamers gone through inside it. But yeah, with this sort of generation being as it is, with like all three console manufacturers and stuff like that, just being neck to neck with one another and try to outdo each other, it feels at this step more like an age to where it's, you know, it feels crazy. It feels like a wild, wild west mentality from indie stuff to the first party content. Sure, there's a lot of shit in between, you know, with different major companies with their bullshit, but at the same time, it's like I cannot remember a generation of gaming to where you have everybody almost on a level playing field.
Yeah. Yeah. It really just like normally when someone does really well, it's because somebody else is going like this. Usually in gaming, someone in order for someone to go up, somebody else has to go down.
Yep.
And we're not. Everybody's just going up right now, which is it's awesome. It's good. This is the best time to be a gamer. It's I mean like I said, I think this is a great thing. It's hard. Like I don't understand. Like I said, unless pricing is ridiculous, there's really hard to complain about this aspect. I mean, just having the access to those older games is fantastic.
Yes.
Um, you know, like that, like I say the PS3. I looked at the what was on PS Now recently, and the PS3 games. If it's every PS3 game you want, unless you
Yep.
want Mag, then it's not there, obviously. But
You wouldn't be able
like
to
it's
play Mag.
yeah, exactly. Um, So like, I mean, PS2, I think it's pretty much all the key PS2 games are on there as well. Obviously you want to add PS1 games and stuff, that'd be great. But yeah, I think it just all really comes down to how they show this off. The big thing I think is obviously, like I said, strong AA indie games on there, and then picking your shots on getting good, um, maybe not AAA, but like like a Back for Blood type, getting ones like shooting your shots on those ones, picking the right ones when you can. Where Back for Blood, it's AAA, but I don't think it's like it's not Far Cry 6 big, it's
Right.
not NBA 2K big, it's not Halo big, it's stuff like it's not that. But it's definitely it's a tier below, but it's like a tier above AA, but it's a tier below AAA kind of thing. Um, so I think getting shit like that was big. So I don't know. I think, like I said, it's gonna come down to how they advertise this, how they show it off, what's gonna be their launch, how it works at launch, and pricing. And like that's to me where I'm trying to think about. Like, okay, PS Plus is like that's $60 a year, so just say that $5 a month. Obviously, you can do $60 a year, or pay $10 a month. For this argument, it's $5 a month because that's Game Pass. That's how they do it. Where it's $10 a month for Game Pass, or if you want Ultimate, it's 15 because you pay $5 a month for the Xbox Live Gold. So it's 15. So I'm looking at PS Plus. Let's just call that $5.
Yep.
Or $60 a year. Tier two, maybe that's $10, and that's one and two, and maybe that just includes the PS4, PS5 games, and some PS5 games, like I said, and then tier three, 15, and that includes all the other games, which is almost weird. You almost think you want to flip tier two and three, but yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely excited for it. I think some people I was talking to are thinking it's gonna be crazy expensive. I'm like, I don't. They want this to be competitive with Game Pass. They want to be able to like if they come out, especially make it more difficult if they come out the gate being more expensive when you don't have. I don't think they're not gonna have the games that Game Pass has.
It
Um,
truly depends
and
on what games they actually have on day one.
yeah,
Truly, I mean, if they've managed to go forth and get a lot of those, like a mixture of a lot of the games that people want, in terms of maybe having the niche games, in terms of having the major ones that define each of those consoles and stuff like that. I mean, on top of like having a lot of indie support with that type of a service, I could see a potential like day one boost. But
yeah,
the worst thing that they could the worst thing that Sony could potentially do is like not have the games at launch be overly expensive, like comparison to the Game Pass like catalog, to where it's like you pay what for a prepaid card 3 months of Xbox Live Ultimate stuff for $45, right?
mm,
So you could potentially like say go on to maybe an Amazon, maybe this, and get like an Ultimate Game Pass sort of thing, maybe for a full year or whatsoever, or even their website do a full year of it, and that's gonna at least be, well, let's see, if it's $45 for 3 months and stuff like that, and it's like you got to estimate that
it's $180 a year.
that's about roughly $180 a year and stuff. If for say for Sony, if they try to do something similar to that, only making it more expensive because of their whole branding and all the other stuff, that's not gonna work.
No,
I mean, hell, nobody.
no. So
It's like even if they do like a little thing, like say if Game Pass is like $15 a month or something like that in order to do their things, and they try to bump it up like say to like a $20 a month, it's like people are gonna be hesitant with that shit. It's
yeah, I
there's
think it's all about
yeah,
just they gotta be affordable. They gotta be they want this to be a competitor, and if they come out the gate more expensive and lesser, then that's it's not gonna work.
yep,
We see this time and time again in technology that sometimes even though it might be better, but if it's more expensive, people might not go for it. And I don't think it's gonna be better at all. Even though they have the PlayStation the PS4 collection on already available, I don't unless they have something big out the gate. I don't think it's gonna happen.
right.
Um, but let's move on, Gables. So next up here, not really like I said, not a lot of news going on this week, but I thought it'd be kind of interesting. We have the Game Awards on Thursday.
Yeah, we do.
Incredibly excited for that.
It's
Um,
gonna be cool shit, isn't it?
I thought it'd be kind of. I mean, I don't want to do a competition thing here because we're terrible at it
No.
about predictions. But I mean, what do you if you had to think? All right, so we typically always have one maybe not groundbreaking, but we always have uh, a big reveal or trailer or something from the three console makers, what do you think those would be?
Okay, so
Because I have some ideas on these.
all right. The most obvious one has to be something related to Nintendo with Breath of the Wild 2. I mean, let's think
Oh,
about it this way. Other than like rumors swirling around and potential something like that may go through and happening, there have been teases and stuff of a game that's been in development like for the past couple of that's been in development I think in the past couple of years that Keeley has made little teases and stuff that he's finally going to go through and like showcase or something in this year's Game Awards. I believe that's what
yeah.
it was to paraphrase Jeff Keighley.
Some people are doing that because it was Breath of the Wild 2 was announced at in June at E3
Yeah.
2019. So 2.5 years from June 2019 is December 2021.
Yep.
A lot of people are like, I feel like this one's pretty good. Where there's a game called Last Night that was at, I believe it was at Microsoft's E3
Mm-hmm.
2019, and that was supposed to be at Game Awards in 20 because it's supposed to be. I think it was supposed to come out in 2020, early 2020, and then some shit happened and it ended up just not showing up, and it's been delayed forever. So a lot of people are pointing that out because that was like a last minute. They pulled it from Game Awards
That's definitely a big
2019.
possibility with that. It's like going back to like Breath of the Wild 2 and stuff. We haven't heard much about it ever since that revealed trailer a while ago, and it's
Mm.
like if it's truly going to be releasing inside of maybe Q1 or something of
Well,
2022,
they said they're aiming for 2022,
they're
so that
aiming.
tells me end of the year
Right.
at best. When Horizon Forbidden West got announced at the end of 2020, they said they're aiming for 2021, and
Right.
now it's coming out February 2022. So I think that's a end of 2022, early 2023 game at best.
Right. Right. I know when it
I think if that announced, we might get a title, and I think that's best. Maybe a little bit of gameplay. I think that's best case scenario if that is there.
I know partially the reason
But
why I was thinking that to begin with and stuff like that is because I know for one, it's like there has to be something in regards to Nintendo related being go through and announced inside of like the Game Awards type of stuff. And I thought more or less than likely it would be something related to Breath of the Wild 2, maybe some sort of core gimmick or something like that that hadn't been unveiled so far. Because
yeah,
from what we've seen, it looks like a traditional, like kind of similar to how the original was in terms of skate landscapes, in terms of like exploration and this and that, but maybe some more content to like say the story aspect of it or some a little bit more of like a gimmick or something that makes it a little bit different in that regards. But other than that, though, I mean, we could see more potential teases from oh god, let's see, not Elden Ring. I mean, hell, Elden Ring we've already had like a blowout thing of that, didn't we?
yeah, and that's coming out pretty soon. I mean, maybe we might get a commercial for it.
Right.
Um, I think. I mean, like I'm thinking like Nintendo. If we're sticking with Nintendo for a second,
Yeah.
to me the most likely thing is the Kirby game gets a release date because that's supposed to
Yeah.
be a spring game. Um,
Yeah, I'm
so I think
fascinated by
that
that Kirby game. I mean, that looks vastly different than anything I've seen from that franchise.
yeah. I'm looking here. Um, so some of the last 3 years for Game Awards, 20 for Nintendo, we had 2018 we had Joker for Smash.
Yeah,
2019 they gave Bravely Default 2 we got a release date,
yeah.
and 2020 we got Sephiroth in Smash. So
Yeah, that's right.
I
People
mean,
losing their shit from that last year.
and then 2017 we got Bayonetta 3 was in development. So
Hmm.
um,
Wouldn't it be hilarious if it was like Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime 4 news?
yeah, I was thinking maybe the Metroid. Yeah, I was thinking four. I was thinking even maybe Bayonetta release date, but that I mean we don't we just know all they've said is 2022. We don't have a time frame other than that. I don't know. I'm just I think the Kirby thing, unless they have, I mean Nintendo used to always have the January February Nintendo Direct,
Yeah,
but obviously the last 2 years we haven't had one from them. Um, so unless they start going back to that, um, which is kind of go back to that format a little bit where we had a direct in March and then we had one in E3 and then we had one in like September. So we're kind of going back to the three big directs a year. Um,
yeah. It's
so
like
I
with
think that's possible.
with with this in general for the Game Awards, I mean, there's a lot of things that it could be potentially for like Nintendo related if they chose to go forth and went to a specific direction. I mean, for what it most likely may be is like exactly what you were saying in terms of like announcement for say Kirby, that Kirby game's like a release date in regards to next year. I mean, it could potentially be something maybe Metroid related, maybe with a trilogy as well. That thing that they've been sitting on,
Or the if it or the Metroid Prime
yeah, the
remake, if
Metroid
that's
Prime
true. So
remake and stuff, that trilogy and stuff like that, they've been sitting on now for like a good solid year, if rumors are correct with that. But
yeah.
focusing on like another system, like another like company, it could be potentially maybe some from Microsoft coming out in terms of another first party game we're not even aware of that's being in development. I mean, how fucking crazy
Yeah.
would that be if they had like maybe some footage or whatsoever or more hints or something like that of Perfect Dark or some of that
Yeah,
sort.
because Perfect Dark was revealed last year. The year before that was Xbox. They actually showed off. They announced the Xbox Series X at 2019. So it's possible. I mean, I'd argue Xbox probably has the bigger announcements. Some of the biggest of the big
It
three,
makes sense
probably the biggest ones the last 2 years, anyways. Um,
because they're the one company I
I
could
think
think of that doesn't have that actually has a lot they could still go forth and show and announce as apparent since the other
yeah,
two because we know
they've
predominantly what
announced the
Nintendo
most.
has. And it's like,
Yeah, well, and like Xbox has the most announced games out there of the big three. They have a ton of games announced that are coming out in the next couple years.
yeah,
Perfect Dark, Devoured. What's the fucking Bethesda game? Sky, no. Battle, no. God, it's going on 11/11/22. Gables, you know the goddamn game.
god damn it.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know why I can't think of
11,
it.
11, 22.
Like,
Oh
God,
god,
what is that
Starfield.
goddamn game called? Starfield. Thank you. I kept wanting to say Battlefield. I'm like, that's not right. Uh, that'd be funny though if it was.
Oh,
But like they got Avowed,
god bless.
Battlefield. God damn it! I've already Starfield. Perfect Dark. I think it's gonna be either Avowed, um, which is the like Skyrim like looking game from
Yeah.
the God, what's the name of this dude? The people that made Fallout, New Vegas, um,
Obsidian.
and then they did Obsidian. Yeah, they did Outer Wilds. Um, I think it's gonna be Avowed or it's gonna be Hellblade 2 because Hellblade 2 was also revealed at
It's been a number of
2019,
years.
and we haven't seen anything since Game Awards 2019. So I think I think Hellblade 2 maybe we finally get some gameplay on that. That'd be awesome. Maybe that's some wishful thinking on my end. Um, I was thinking about PlayStation because PlayStation's weird. I want to look at like PlayStation.
Yeah, PlayStation
Uh,
announcements right at this point are kind of like in a weird place to where we know predominantly what's going to be coming up for them in the post of like the next year and stuff, but God, we just came off of a last couple weeks ago of them having the last like kind of indie sort of styling of direct that they did have, barring a couple of
yeah, yeah, they right. They just had their PS5 thing not too long ago.
unless they
Um,
choose this time to unveil their whole Game Pass like subscription service or something at Game Awards.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be. I don't think they're gonna do that there though. I think that'll be like, they they typically have a state of play early in the year. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I mean, I was thinking maybe that Last of Us Factions, that Last of Us multiplayer game that we know for a fact is in the works. Maybe we finally get that. Some details on that. It'd be really funny if we finally got that blue box game there because that was supposed to be we're supposed to learn about the game in June
Yeah.
and then they delayed it and then we're supposed to learn about it in August and they delayed it and they've just been silent since. So
Oh God.
maybe we finally get that there. I don't know.
The pie in the
I
sky
don't know.
dream is something either Silent Hill or Metal Gear related.
Yeah, I've heard some people talk about that because Konami was supposed to be E3 and they pulled out last minute because they weren't
Yep.
ready and we haven't heard anything since. But also Jeff Keighley called them out on their bullshit when they wouldn't let Hideo Kojima
Hmm.
go to the Game Awards in 2016 or
Right.
2015. So maybe there's some bad blood between Konami and Jeff Keighley, but also it could be, 6 years ago. Maybe they're over it.
Or
Um,
it could be something to where it's like Konami's licensing out one of those two franchises to Sony. That's a possibility too. So
yeah,
maybe they wouldn't have to deal.
that could be the Sony thing as well. Yeah, so yeah, you're right there. I don't know.
That's a
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking. Yeah, Sony's. I think Sony's the hardest one because I just don't. I mean, the problem is like because I don't want to just include like yeah they could do something with Horizon or shit like that. Maybe with Final Fantasy 16. Problem is like we just don't know as much about them as we do about Nintendo or Xbox as far as like we know the near future stuff. We don't know about like far future stuff from them.
A thought
Um,
occurred to me while we were
okay.
talking about potential things going through. Something I was thinking about that potentially may go forth and be teased down the line, is possibly the unveiling or like announcement of, say, God, I'm thinking about it, maybe Persona 6, because it's like that.
No, because Persona's doing they have a date they have a planned thing or they're doing all their big announcements. So I think they're gonna do their own thing on that one.
Yeah, you're right on
So
that one, but at the same point, it's like, it was just a thought that just frequently through my head because I know they got Atlas has got their complete things on what they're going through and announcing and this and that and stuff like that. Because quintessentially, I'm thinking back, it's like, okay, what year was it that Persona 5 released? That was back around 2017. I know they're pretty much high in development in terms of, like, say, a Persona 6, the next entry in their series. But on top of that, they were doing subsidiary things with those two dancing games plus Persona 5 Strikers in that regards.
I think if anything, we're gonna hear about Persona 5 coming to other platforms.
That would make a lot of
More
sense.
if we're gonna hear anything for Persona, it's gonna be that. Oh yeah,
Absolutely,
but
yeah.
jumping to like third party here, I'm thinking maybe like Jedi Fallen Order 2
Oh, that
could
would be
be a
interesting.
thing. Um,
There would be people that would be excited about that.
I'm just trying to yeah. Oh,
What?
the Chrono Cross game from play that it's the
Oh.
remake, the Chrono Cross remake.
I just go through just like I just thought about it for a second right here. It's like, yeah, that has been rumored to be potentially
Yeah,
in the
and
making here.
they're doing a event on the day of the Game Awards.
That I did know about. So yeah, that does lead some credence to where we could potentially see that Chrono Cross remaster. That
Yeah, sometimes we like they'll like we hear about like it's weird because normally there's a lot more rumors this time of year going into the Game Awards than
yeah.
there really hasn't been any. Um, Sometimes though we hear about like they announce shit earlier in the week
Mm-hmm.
and they say they like, reveal it earlier in the week, but then they say then like it's like a tease and then it's like see more at the Game Awards.
Right.
It's like that's the thing that's happened. So I could see that being a big possibility of like some shit get. Well, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or maybe Monday, Tuesday, because I don't think anybody wants to be around Halo. So maybe like Monday, Tuesday. My dog is like sniffing the wall.
Ah,
I don't know what he's doing. He's very weird. Um, anyways, but like maybe we get some announcements, like some the pre-announcements where they reveal it. It's like hear more about like it is show like a fucking we see the name of the game kind of thing,
uh-huh.
and it's like learn more at the Game Awards kind of shit, like advertisements for that. So
Right.
I think we're gonna hear I think we'll hear more the next few days. But yeah, I don't know. This one it's usually always shit we don't expect. Like I don't think anything Bioware is gonna be there because the creative director just left Bioware for the Dragon Age game,
Okay.
and that game has been in development hell for like the last like 4 years now. Um, so and like we've seen that game at the Game Awards in 2018 and 2020,
Right.
and it was a teaser trailer. So like I don't know how you come back 2 years after you did a teaser trailer
You do
to
another
show
teaser trailer.
another teaser trailer. Yeah, although if this just became the bit of them showing teaser trailers at Game Awards, I'd be totally cool with it. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
That's the
Yeah.
thing
So
about
we
this
want
Game Awards coming up is that we honestly leading into it, there may have been like a couple of handful of rumors going around, but it's been
yeah
relatively silent. So anything that's going to be
yeah
announced, if it's very impactful, we are going to know about it as soon as the announcements hit or leaks hit.
yeah. I mean, the only thing I'm thinking of like that I feel pretty confident about is WB Games will be there in some sense where we're gonna get the next we're either gonna see something from Suicide Squad. They have the Hogwarts Legacy game. They have the Gotham Knights game, and NetherRealm. Normally they have a game every 2 years. They switch between Injustice and Mortal Kombat. Well, 2021 should have been the year they released Injustice 3. We didn't get anything from them. They announced Mortal Kombat 11 at Game Awards 2018
Right.
and released it in March 2019. So I can see possibly something
Hmm.
from them. I think WB Games will be there in some sense, and unless they announce something new, I think one of those four is very likely. My hope is either Suicide Squad gameplay, or my biggest hope is that it's Injustice 3 because I love Injustice and I want more of that goddamn game.
Yes, honestly, I would like to see a potential Injustice 3 be revealed because hell, the I loved playing through Injustice 2 when that was coming out. I got that Game of the Year thing, plus like all the DLC and stuff that I could easily download and play at
Yeah,
any time. But
so good.
I'd also like to see some more gameplay in regards to Suicide Squad as well, since we've seen nothing but trailers since it's
Yeah,
unveiled.
yeah, yeah. We got CD trailers last year and this year we got some cutscenes. So yeah, I mean I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a fun day. I cannot wait for that to happen. But let's move on here, Gables. I thought it'd be kind of interesting. We are into the last month of the year.
Mm.
Um, and we're gonna be doing our game of the year podcast. We always do it the last week of the year. This year, I think we're gonna do it. I think it'll land on January 1st.
Yeah.
We'll be doing our game of the years. So we'll literally have the entire year and a day to play the 2020 games. 2021 games rather. Jesus, I don't know what year it is anymore. um, so I mean, I don't know. I thought I'd ask you, going in. We got 1 month left to prep and cram in those last remaining games. Is there anything for you that's come out this year that you haven't played yet that you want to, or that you've started but not played? You want to keep playing more of? Like, is there anything that you're thinking of that you want to try in the last month here to try to get a second chance at and get completed?
Now, the thing about that question is, yeah, I've actually come prepared a little bit with a list that I have here for. This is what I do every year to where I have like a game of the year like thing set for years and stuff. I've done it since like 2018 and stuff. So on my phone right now, I got a good slew of games that I have that are candidates for potentially being on my top 10 and stuff for like the game of the year stuff. But as far as games that I either haven't played that I want to play or I still want to get back to, it's like I do want to get back to playing like games like say like Ender Lilies and like Deathloop and stuff because I put some time inside of say Ender Lilies, but I would really like to put some more Deathloops. I think I've barely even got like 20 minutes into that game. But as far as games I want to try to play some of before the end of this year, it's like maybe Persona 5 Strikers, since I have the game and I have not bothered cracking it open. Maybe a little bit of Scarlet Nexus or something like that, but I'm not trying to stretch my thing too thin with a bunch of like long ass RPGs or something like that.
Yeah, Scarlet Nexus is a very long game.
But God, looking at some of the core games and stuff, I think one of the
Metroid Dread.
definitely Metroid Dread I want to get back to. I mean, Metroid Dread is definitely something I want to get back to and play more of. But let's see, there was one other game that I did want to try to go forth and play a little bit more of, Cyber Shadow. That one was
Mm.
also a game I had on Game Pass, but played earlier on
I think
this year.
I think it's off Game Pass now.
Yeah, I think it is too. But at the same,
I think it literally just like left like last week or 2 weeks ago.
yeah, I think yeah, you're right about that. I think that one just left and stuff. But I do want to try to play more of the games I had mentioned, like say Cyber Shadow if it's still on Game Pass, but Persona 5 Strikers, Ender Lily, and stuff like that, Deathloop. I mean, I'm gonna probably end up picking like one or two out of the remaining right there and just play what I can of those and stuff because it's that in between to where this week I haven't felt like playing much of anything in that regards. It's that lull period until the next major game I want to go through and try to shift through. But yeah, I
Yeah,
got like a core of two or three. But
nice.
Tyler, how about yourself?
You know, for the first time in what feels like ever, I actually feel pretty good about my my backlog. Like for games that came out this year, I don't really have any. Like, my nose is very. I got a mustache hair, That's like pricking me right in the nose and it's driving me nuts. I'm not picking my nose. It's like right here on the outer edge and it's driving me nuts. Sorry for video listeners and audio listeners on that. But yeah, so there's not really anything major that's come out that I want to give time to. I think the Deathloop would have been that one. Like I said, I finished that up. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Um, and like really like the only thing I haven't played yet is like Advance Wars 1 and 2 was supposed to come out yesterday and it didn't happen obviously. My dog, what the fuck are you doing? He's got a blanket stuck to his back. He's got my Hawkeye blanket stuck to his fucking. It's so. God, you're weird,
I
dog.
like
You're a very weird
Superman.
dog. Yeah, basically. I'll find it like laying like on my bedroom floor sometimes because he gets up and he runs around. He's being he's being very needy. He's down here again by my lap. Louis, you can go lay down, buddy. Um, but like the only thing really is like I said, like it was actually funny. Like side thing here. I was talking to my sister earlier because we are talking about like I was doing my Christmas shopping and stuff. I
Yeah.
was like trying to figure out what she wanted and like what she's already got my parents, so we don't buy the same shit. Um, and she was like, we were talking. Somehow she was mentioning like she's a big Call of Duty Warzone fan, and she was like talking about how she's kind of bummed like the new Warzone maps to come out on Friday, but it got delayed a week. I was like, yeah, I was supposed to have a game come out, and she doesn't. Like I said, she only plays Warzone. She don't care about anything else in gaming. So I was telling her, I'm like, yeah, I was supposed to have a game come out yesterday too, but it got delayed to April. She's like, to April? It's like, why would they like normally they just put it out and fix it later? I'm like, wow, what a statement that is right there. Normally we put it out now and we fix it later. I'm like, well, this is an online game. This is a single player game, and I
That's
was
so
so that
depressing.
yeah, right. I thought that was I'm like, wow, uh, Jesus Christ. So that's where we're at in gaming nowadays. But yeah, like I'm kind of happy that I got pushed though because April looks pretty clear as of right now. Knock on wood. Uh, and December looks pretty nuts here because we got Halo coming out on Wednesday, which is awesome. I'm
Yeah.
really pumped for that one. Something I never thought I would say. Um, so I'm really pumped for that. And then the Gunk I want to try out that comes out on the 16th, also comes in Game Pass.
Yeah.
That's from the people. That's from Image and Form. They made oh god, I just slipped. Literally SteamWorld games. So like SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2, SteamWorld Heist, which I loved Heist. So I definitely this is like a third person like 3D game. Looks kind of cool. I do want so that's actually the only thing I want to check out the rest of the year. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get to the Gunk because I don't know how much free time I'm gonna have for the rest of the month.
Right.
But so Halo's probably gonna take the most of that, and we're trying to watch football. So um, yeah, that's it. So I'm actually feeling quite positive about my list as far as like the big games that I wanted to play this year. I've knocked out. So um, moving on, Gables here. Let's talk about some of these quick hitters we got going on.
All right.
So just a few things here. So Paper Mario, I think we touched on that earlier, is coming to Nintendo expansion, the Nintendo Switch Online expansion this coming week. We got a launch trailer for that. I thought that was kind of cute. Uh, so I don't know. I don't know how much to say on that one. I mean, it's been a little over a month since it came out, the 64 expansion for Nintendo Online, and we have one game coming. So that's something. I don't know how much buzz is behind this one, but I don't know. I mean, some people seem kind of excited for it. What about you, Gills?
I thought it was kind of interesting that they went through and announced one game for release on the N64 service. That it just really continues like, hey, adds to the credence of okay, let's just go ahead and trickle one game release after another or something like that. Let's just stagnate things that don't need to be
Yeah,
stagnated. But
and stop releasing Super Nintendo and Nintendo games while we're at it too.
yeah,
So
exactly. So this is the same old shit that Nintendo does. It
yeah.
happened with the Wii
Oh
Virtual Console. It happened with like friggin' Wii U stuff, and then with Switch, it's quintessentially the same thing. Only difference is it's like one game or so every whenever. But in terms of the releasing of Paper Mario and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, it's good that that's coming out fairly soon in that regards, as soon as like next week goes into effect. But Paper Mario, strong game. Definitely would recommend people going through and trying that out because it's quintessentially if you liked playing, if you're a gamer that you've played enough and stuff to where you like, say, South Park: The Stick of Truth in regards to its gameplay structure in that regard and stuff, then play some Paper Mario because that game really borrowed some emphasis upon the simplicity of Paper Mario and that game style and that regards and stuff with the attacks, with the not like the storyline stuff, no, but just more or less like the game simplicity of the button presses and stuff or the turn-based stuff.
Mm.
But I think that's pretty cool that Paper Mario's coming out this soon, because it's like it's definitely easy to understand in regards to an RPG, turn-based RPG standard, and that was something that was incredibly rare back in the N64 days, since like having an actual full-on role-playing game released on that system, since there's like literally a handful, maybe 4 or 5 most of an entire system's life.
Yeah.
But it definitely is a worthwhile game for people to go through and try out on the Switch Online. If you bought the expansion pack, definitely give it a shot.
Yeah. I just put them all out. I don't know what you're waiting for here. It's like
Yeah.
this isn't like the base Nintendo Online thing where people can pay monthly. If you want to play 64 games, you got to buy a year of it. So just put the fucking thing out.
No shit.
Just put them all out instead of doing this bullshit. Next up here, Halo Infinite. They announced some changes to the XP. So some of the changes they put into place is already in place now. You play one game, you get 300 XP. You need 1,000 XP to go up a level to each level. So
Okay.
one game is 300, second game is 200, third game 200, fourth game, fifth game, and sixth game each 100 apiece. And then after that, it goes back to the traditional 50 XP. So if you play 6 games a day, you go up a level even if you don't do any challenges. So it's not perfect, but it's something. This is something I mentioned a while back where I felt like they probably weren't going to be able to do anything. They probably wouldn't or couldn't do anything major until season 2 to not fuck up the level balancing and
Right.
because at this point, if you go back to I mean, I'm not defending it so much, but the decisions are in place. The game, the way you boost and everything like that is in place. So like, if you went back to traditional, what you expect to go like to earn for XP, you would totally destroy how that works. The progression works because it's 1,000 XP per level. So you play a couple games, even at my shitty scores, I go up levels super fast, and you just piss off people that either paid a shit ton of money to level up or already did all the grinding to level up. So at least it allows people like me that don't have as much free time and aren't just that good at the game that like I bought the battle pass, gives me a chance to actually earn the things I paid for.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they said don't expect anything for a while. But like I said, I didn't expect. Like I said a few weeks ago, like I wasn't expecting anything major until season 2 launched in May. So, but obviously I think they got more. They're more focused on getting that campaign good shape when it comes out. I think the reviews are rumored to drop Monday morning, so I'm
For
excited.
Halo
I'm excited
Infinite.
about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so because it comes out Wednesday, so the reviews got to be coming soon. So it sounds like Monday morning. And then the last thing here is Titanfall. They announced is pulled from stores to buy um, immediately as of December 1st. It will be pulled from like Game Pass and stuff like that, and like EA Play on March 1st of next year. Um, they didn't announce when the servers will be shut down. They said they're going to continue doing that, but this is kind of like the prelude to servers being shut down. So this game came out in I think March or April of 2013 or 2014 rather. So I mean you're talking in a few months here we're talking 8 years. So kind of makes sense. What about you, Gibbs?
This is not surprising at all, considering that the servers weren't necessarily gone through and taken care of through the extent by their own like developers, or even like in terms of like the whole dedicated server stuff. It's like there were definitely a lot of issues with the Titanfall servers in general. Being frequently like by hackers, by lack of maintenance in regards to some of the custom stuff. Literally, that game died out within the first couple of months of it releasing because they barred a lot of the stuff through the multiplayer content. I had issues with it to begin with and stuff. Not so much of the gameplay, but because of the progression of not just the story element, but it was just more or less focused upon being completely online and stuff. So even if you were at the time of its release near its launch or whatever, and you were playing that game and you were trying to understand the basic thing of what's happening, you would get these different story chunks based upon what map you would go through. So you could
Yeah, I
basically
remember
be
that.
at like the end of the game and stuff like that with the end portion of stuff, and you would have that from the get go, because that's kind of something that happened to me to where I had the first and second chapter or something like that of that thing done, and all of a sudden it's like through the shoddy freaking design of how that thing's structured, instead of going even flow from beginning to end throughout a chapter or whatsoever like that, it was more or less I do chapters 1 and 2, and all of a sudden I get to the last chapter just zoomed all the way up in there and stuff to do a multiplayer match with that shit. So, barring that structure aside and stuff, I'm not too surprised considering that for one, there had been a lot of like fan out like backlash in regards to to the original Titanfall in general. It even goes so much to the extent to where like there was that DDoS thing like for a Titanfall with like freaking people going inside there. It's like even like inserting something in regards to like for EA to fix their shit or whatsoever for that, if
Yeah.
I can paraphrase that. But yeah, to hear that the servers are going down and that Titanfall is going to be going away pretty much is no surprise to me. I mean,
Yeah.
hell, the sequel is better anyway in terms of its almost everything was better.
One of the best campaigns of all time in first person shooter history.
Hmm.
So yeah. Oh man, I want to go back and play that now. Maybe I should just do that instead. But yeah. All right. Let's move it on here to what we've been playing. Gables, do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first, Tyler?
Okay. So like I mentioned earlier, I actually finished Deathloop, and I want to just take back a lot of the shit I said last week. Just throw that off the record. Because I was completely wrong about a lot of things here. And I went back and listened to it later, and I'm like, man, I feel like I was trying to make it sound simple, and I made it sound very confusing and overly complicated. And I just realized there's just no good way to explain this game to make it sound like it's super simple. For what you think a loop game would be, it is very simple. There's just no. It just sounds very complicated to when trying to make it sound simple. So I'm just gonna throw it out there. And I also said that you were trying to get everybody to the party at the end of the day. That's not true. Some people are at the party, not everybody's at the party. So the key is trying to kill the 7 visionaries in one day. Like I said, there's 4 days. There's 4 areas. There's four different times of the day. Um, and so there's really 16 areas because every time of the day in this one area is different.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe this garage is open in the afternoon, but it's closed the rest of the day, and it leads to this whole different area. Um, so I'm not even gonna talk about the systems. I'm not gonna talk about how it works. I'll say this: for if it was like a typical roguelike or a loop game, I would not have finished this game. I would not have completed this game. The fact that it has quasi roguelike elements, but also does a very good job of handholding is the reason why I finished it. And also the fact that I think it's a fantastic game. It is definitely now in the running for my game of the year.
Hmm.
Yes, with the other 422 other games that are up in the running for my game of the year because it's that fucking tight. Gables, I started writing down and trying to make arguments with myself today. Like seriously started sitting down. I spent 5 minutes and I almost had a nervous breakdown. I don't know if this year might kill me. Um, so, anyways, go back to Deathloop here.
That's funny.
Um, some of my favorite things about like what makes me really like this game because like I said, I'm not a loop guy. I don't like roguelikes. I loved Hades. Hades, the fucking blast play. I just got so frustrated of like you'd have all these runs where you'd spend 45 minutes to an hour and you would come away with you would fail and have nothing to show for it, or like you finally beat this badass boss and then you get to the next badass boss and he just whoops your ass and you and you're like, oh, it took me forever to beat. It took me 20 attempts to beat this badass boss. Now there's another badass boss behind that one. Oh, I beat that one. Cool. Now I beat those 2 badass bosses. Well, now there's a third badass boss behind that one. I whoop my ass. Like just all that. Like the runs get long and like there's so many different runs where you might play the game for 2-3 hours, do 4 or 5 runs, and you have nothing to show for it because you focus on that run instead of future runs, or you do these runs where you just focus on the future, but not you're like half-ass in it. I love this game because like every run I did, I got something out of it. Not just like, oh, I got a better weapon, but like I actually got like real solid things that helped me out. whether I got another slab or a slab upgrade, or I unlock the next step in completing the main level or the main campaign. Like another thing is I never had a run where I just grinded and like, oh, I'm gonna focus on getting better weapons or just solely upgrading on upgrades or just getting this slab. Like the cool thing is when you go in these areas, there's typically like there's runs I'll go in. So you have like when you open up your like there's two different like screens you can look at. There's a screen that like focuses like here's the main mission, here's like the things you got to do, and here's like the string that shows you what you got to do to finish them. And like you got to be here, and it tells you exactly where you need to go and at what time of the day. When you get there, it unlocks it, moves on to the next step. But while you're there, there's another screen you can look at of things you can do that are like side objectives. Like I said, like getting slabs, which are your powers, like the teleporting power, or turn invisible, or combine enemies together where you can kill them all together, or a couple other ones. I can't remember what they do off the top of my head now. But there's a lot of great slabs. Or there's like area where we can find better weapons. But like I never like while I'm off doing like I could just mainline the game, and if I want to while I'm there, there's these other things I can do while I'm there. So I'm not just going there, doing one thing, leaving. I'm going there, I'm doing this one thing. I'm like, well, I'm here. One of the visionaries is here. I can kill them and get an upgrade for my slab. So like I'm doing these runs, and I'm accomplishing so many things, and a very small concrete of time. So like, yeah, like I'm doing some side stuff here, but I'm not just like I said, like some roguelikes you're playing. Like I said, I might do a whole run in Hades and focus on future shit. I'm like, well, I spent an hour and a half and I
Right.
got this little bump on these my main things that actually roll over from run to run. Like I'm accomplishing these things, and I don't have to do these things again. Or like now it's like some of these like things like yeah, you might have to do this again, but it took you 30 40 minutes and maybe two attempts. Maybe you failed twice, but it took you 30 40 minutes to do this one time. But now it's like I know what I need to do. It literally takes me like 2 minutes to do, and I mean literally, it'll take me 2 minutes. Like that's what, like some of these runs. It's like to kill some of these visionaries. Like you have to kill like a lot of these. Like I would say you don't there's no really need to grind in this game. And like I said, do those runs to just like get the focus on upgrades, because if you just play the game like like I did, where cool, I'm here, I'm focusing on the main missions, but while I'm here, I'm also going to do these like the side shit here
Right.
that's going to help me for future runs. So you're two birds, one stone. Like cool. It might take me 40 minutes. Like I said, this one run might take me 40 minutes. I might fail a couple times, but it might take me 40 minutes to figure out how to do this the first time. But then literally, I know what I need to do. It's a loop game, so the exact same thing is going to happen if I do this thing again. So like, okay, I'm going to go around the side. I'm going to go through this window. I'm going to bring this person off by himself. Boom, snap the neck, killed him. Move on, unlock this whole tree or finish this tree on the main mission. But I got all this fucking awesome trinkets to upgrade my character, and also got an upgrade for my slab. Like that's what's so awesome about this game is like I think the characters are really cool. I think the story's pretty entertaining. And then just like I said, it might take you a long time initially to learn how to do something, but you're gonna do it enough times just doing the main game, and it's not even like enough, like you're not, because you're gonna do it 25 times. I'm talking about you're gonna do it a few times, but like I said, after you learn how to do it once, you can do it again. Once you know how to do it one way, you can do it that way over and over again, and it's super simple, and it becomes very easy, and it's very quick in how you do it, where it doesn't even bother me that I might do this thing 5 6 times. It's like once I know it, I know how to do it. So when I got to the final run to kill all the visionaries, and that one we had to actually kill them all, I finished all the main mission points. I did I did a little, okay, I did a little bit of like, because that was my concern at the beginning here. I'm gonna jump back a minute. Is I was doing some like runs where I was like, I'm gonna go fight this guy to get upgrade for this slab, but then like I learned like, but then like I say like 2/3 of the way through the game, I had like found like the perfect way I want to play the game, and I got trinkets that upgrade your weapons and upgrade your character overall. Uh, that like I found because you can only, your guns can only hold so many trinkets, and your character can only hold so many trinkets. Where I found the perfect trinkets that I wanted to, and the best weapons that I wanted for how I play. To I never wanted to upgrade it, so I was like finding all these extra trinkets, but I didn't want to keep them. So I wasn't. I had like the residum that you use to infuse. Do you need to spend to actually keep these trinkets or upgrades to the next to continue on permanently for the rest of the game. It's like 2/3 of the way through the game, like I already found the perfect weapons and the perfect trinkets, and like there was nothing like so like it was completely unnecessary. So like some of that early grinding that I did, and it wasn't like a lot, but I did a little bit. It was like completely unnecessary. Like if I was just I would have got these things regardless if I just would have played and focused on the main campaign, focused on that. So like I said, you don't need to really even do that unless you want to get like the crazy top tier gear that's kind of hard to find. Then yeah, you can do that and that's fine. But like what's awesome is like these visionaries. There's not that crazy hard boss fight. There's not that like oh that was tough. Well fuck okay well I died on the second boss fight. Now I gotta do all that shit, get to the first fight, beat that guy. Hopefully did well enough to now I can beat the second guy and move on. And like, well, now you're back to square one kind of shit. Like when I did the final run, I have done all the other shit and I've mastered all the other stuff. And I have so much good gear from just playing the main game that like I beat the final like loop in like 30 minutes. And I killed all the visionaries. Spoiler, that's the whole point of the game. You kill the visionaries in one loop. You do it, and then you get to the last area. I'm not gonna spoil all that shit. That like it took me like I knew how to. I've done it so many times. I've gotten so good at it that like it's still super fun to do, super kind of stressful at points. Because you got to do all now. You can't just you're not just doing this one section this time. You're doing all the sections, all 4 sections in one run, and you can't. And I don't want to die and fail and have to start all over again. But I love this game. I think it's really great. I think it. I know some people don't like it because it's too hand-holdy because they want like that fucking straight roguelike type of game where like or they wanted like pen and paper, have to write shit down, memorize these codes.
Well, that's good for
Like I said,
them, you know. But at the same time, it's like not
yeah,
every
no,
single type of that. I'm just thinking about it from like
yeah,
the perspective, say, like what you were just sharing and stuff, where it doesn't have to be that way in order for someone to go forth and enjoy it. You know, this is the type of game where it wants to hold your hand and guide you through the experience in regards to what you can do and have that type of things to let you decide what you want to do with it.
yeah, no, exactly. Like, I agree. And that's like I get if like you're just people are disappointed in that because they want that they want that Dark Soul. Like I love the Dark Souls and the Souls like fighting mechanics. I love all that, but I don't like Dark Souls because it's super difficult. Same way I don't like roguelites because they're super difficult and I don't want to replay shit over and over again. But like I love it when like a game does a really good like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order like there's a really good Souls like game. I like that. I love that combat. It's really good. God of War is a really good Souls like fighting mechanic. I love that game. It's my favorite game of all time. Like I like and this is like finally found a rogue light style game that I like, but also it's not like it doesn't have all like the crazy hard boss fights. Even though like I'm not saying they're bad games, it's just not for me kind of thing. Um, so yeah, like it hit a really good balance for me where like I think the character interactions are great between Juliana and Colt. Like every time you go start a new section, uh, them talking shit to each other is fucking hilarious and fun. Like listening to like people's conversations, especially like the visionaries are awesome and top notch. Like man, this game blew me away from what I expected. I was going in and I was looking forward to it. Like I said, like I'm glad I picked it up for $30. Um, when I was going to, I'm like, I want to try this out. While people are talking and giving it high praise, and I've heard that kind of discussion about like, oh, it's not really a roguelike. And I'm like, okay, well that sounds good for me. And I'm glad I played it. I'm glad because I love this game. It's fantastic. I think the overall story itself is not great. And the big problem is I think with the story is like so much of it is told through like exploring the world and finding notes or just going to this area at this certain time and you go into this this side area and you might fall into a cutscene that explains more backstory. And I miss a lot of that because like I said I focused mainly on mainlining the game. Uh, so I got the whole gist of the story, but there's so much backstory to the game and the characters that like to really get into it, like to like get the real um, all the juice out of that lemon. You need to do that. So I went and watched a YouTube video to like explain some more of that. And when I played it, I'm like, I felt the story was okay, I guess. But then I watched it, I'm like, oh, okay, no, it's actually like this lore and the shit that I missed, like that's pretty fucking awesome. Like I'm not saying you need to do that to get that. Like just watch a fucking video, but like That's the only doubt. Like the biggest complaint I have really is that like some of the best bits of that game is like for the story wise is like you gotta explore, you gotta find it kind of stuff. It's not just there. It's not like explained in cutscenes stuff like that. But overall, like the gameplay is fucking awesome. The game is super fun to play. Two major thumbs up for me. Gonna be up there in my game, my top 10 list. But that's the only thing I played this week. Gables, what about you?
All right. So, like I stated earlier, I have played a bit of a hodgepodge of stuff. I did try out Forza Horizon 5. I did
Oh,
actually
nice.
try to play it through streaming through the cloud and stuff like that for the Microsoft Cloud service type of stuff that they've been touting. Because I wanted to get a general feel upon how my Wi-Fi would actually handle it, and I was actually quite surprised that it was able to handle the gameplay portion, the performance of it. Not that I'm kind of glad I was able to go forth and test it out in that regards. There were kind of a little bit of things that I kind of felt that were not readily supported in that regards to what I kind of felt like they would be readily supported with that for that experience. One of them was like the video quality of it wasn't as like great as I thought it was going to be. More or less, there was a bunch of kind of like fuzzy, sort of like buffering type of stuff. Which, you know what, I can understand some bit of it because I did play it through on performance mode as opposed to like say the high quality sort of mode in of itself. But there were times where I kind of felt like when I was playing Forza Horizon 5 through like the cloud and stuff like that, where it felt like I was going through certain buffering in terms of images, like I would for certain videos and stuff. That whole aspect to where it's like you're watching a video and all of a sudden, like into like not even a couple seconds into it, it just starts buffering a little bit in the background. That all of a sudden the image becomes a little bit clearer over time and stuff. But it's that type of fuzzy type of things. But other than that, though, I thought the gameplay was relatively fine. You know, I didn't play too much of the game because I was kind of distracted by the looks of like the graphical type of stuff. But hell, I thought for what it was and stuff, it did play fairly well in terms of the gameplay stuff. It didn't have too much like say input lag in terms of the stream. It didn't have too much of like issues in regards to yeah, in regards to like say the overall quality of like skipping of audio or this or that, but that was just like one experience, you know. So I was relatively happy with playing through like some bits on the that project like xCloud stuff,
Yeah.
but yet at the same point it's like the emphasis of like the buffering in terms of the images wasn't as clear as I wanted it. The gameplay aspect of it was fine, you know, no input lag, just to kind of repeat and stuff. But lastly and stuff, I don't know if the streaming stuff through the Xbox. I wasn't using like a LAN connection. I was using like a Wi-Fi collection, but I don't think the streaming games in that regards is something for me because, for one, you don't get like say the best quality of say if like the streaming aspect of your Wi-Fi isn't that up to snuff in
Yeah.
that regards. I mean, granted, I have a new router here. I have a new modem in that regards, and that played into effect the quality of it. But if I were to go through and play, say, Forza Horizon 5 again, it would be either through either download or through disc, you know. But I didn't think the game was bad. I only played maybe 20 minutes through that first opening section, stuff like that, but didn't go through more than that because I didn't want to. I honestly didn't. I thought about like my data cap stuff because it's like that's also another thing that
Oh,
could
yeah.
potentially go through. I started thinking about it. It's like, what happens if I really get into this game and all of a sudden I max out the data cap for everybody in the span of a month? I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. But
That would be good.
other than that, I did try out some bit of the N64 expansion stuff. I mean, here's a little new stuff. I actually got my little brother his separate account and stuff, his separate things. My mom ended up helping because my little brother, because he gets certain bits of like money and stuff per month. We went through, made sure that he had that expansion stuff for himself and stuff, and on his Switch and this and that. So he has his own profile, has his own stuff.
Are you still gonna be Mario on my Nintendo Switch?
No,
Then okay, because you're
no.
Mario right now.
Ah, jeez. Well, that's pretty funny. But at the same time, I did change like some bit of I did change some bit of stuff, you know, but at like on top of things and stuff, I tried to play a little bit of the N64 expansion stuff, and what's kind of hilarious about it is I tried playing a little bit of Mario Tennis while in handheld mode because I wanted to test out like how well I
Hmm.
could play the game. Yeah, I'll tell you what, if the first time playing Mario Tennis or something like on the Switches online, it wasn't really that great of an experience because how cramped the Joy Cons were when I was going through and trying to play some of that stuff. To where when I managed to finish a couple of tournaments in a row, and then when I get to the last tournament, the first round and something, my hands were so sweaty at the point that I was literally like my thumbs were sliding off the Joy Cons. I'm getting fucking pissed. It's like, God damn it! I was just trying to get this thing accurately to this and to that. No, but the most hilarious part was like last night and stuff to where I was playing as Waluigi, want to go through some of the ring shot stuff, and I have my Hiyori like slidable like Joy Cons and stuff for handheld mode because I really wanted to feel like I want to play the Switch in bed, and so I go through the couple of them, and then all of a sudden I get to Donkey Kong, right? In Donkey Kong, you have to go through and do like about hit the ball through about 90 rings and stuff to finish that match. So you have to collect 90 rings or do it little chunks at a time and stuff, and then just score on Donkey Kong and this and that. There were times that I literally got over 90 rings, but I couldn't freaking execute like the ball like over Donkey Kong because he's one of those characters that he'll stay in the back. He'll go through to a fucking power shot in the completely opposite direction, regardless of where he's at in the middle of the court. So it took me like it was like a good solid 20 or 30 minutes or something like that. But at that same point, I ended up having to retiring that fucking game because it's like after about a half hour of fucking playing against Donkey Kong with his damn power swings and random things, the fucking donkey dick was just this fucking stupid shit, dude. But
Goddamn donkey dicks.
but other than that, I did just play maybe a little bit more Brilliant Diamond, but that was in regards to seeing a little bit of the end game content, which is sort of similar to Diamond and Pearl in some regards to that whole battle tower sort of stuff. But I just took the party that I had, went through, picked about three of them, go through a thing of seven. I went through, didn't have hardly any issues in regards to facing off against seven trainers in a row through the battle things, earning those little BP points, those battle points and stuff. And the fun part about it is you can invest it in a lot of different ways, like through getting TMs or getting specific items and stuff to help you with like effort value training for your Pokemon and this and that. I think in terms of making your characters, like making your Pokemon, your team competitive and stuff like that, that's a great emphasis on how you can go through and do it. Because along the way, you actually come across a lot of different berries that'll take away certain effort value points and stuff by tens and stuff for your creature if they eat that. So, for example, one berry will have you decrease the amount of effort values in the attack stat by 10 if you feed it that. Or if you get like an item inside of the battle tower right here, if you spend enough BP points and get something that will help increase plus 10, like a plus one or whatever the hell type of thing, or plus two type of EV in a specific stat, and fight against a Pokemon that has that particular type of effort value it gives off when you beat it and stuff, that'll make it quicker that way. Yeah, at one point I knew how to do all that stuff in Diamond and Pearl because that was pretty much the essential thing I was doing for the online stuff to try to get my team all competitive was going through the held items, going through the effort value shit and stuff like that. But yeah, I tried it out because I wanted to try to see what else was there after the mainline thing. And there are some aspects of the after game and stuff that I haven't even gone into yet, but I will eventually at some point, just not at this moment because I've already played enough of Brilliant Diamond for right now. But yeah, that's pretty much my extent for gaming this week. Hasn't been really intuitive. I've been mostly focused upon sleeping early because I've been getting knocked out quite early in the nights.
No situation.
But
Yeah.
here's hoping next week's going to provide something much interesting.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Well, it will because we have Game Awards in Halo,
Yeah.
so should be a good week. Hopefully, knock on wood. Don't want to knock too loud because my dog will go nuts if I do.
Same with mine.
Yeah. So, anyways, if you like that, like I said at the top of the show, like, follow, subscribe, all those places. Click on wrong way. All right, what's it down there? Sorry, audio listeners. Click down there for YouTube on Gables Junk to make it go woohoo and help us out on YouTube. Like I said, like, follow, subscribe, comments, whatever you do to help us out. Really would appreciate it. Like I said, 5 stars, big thing right there. If you want to give us 3 or less, just don't waste time. Just don't, please. That hurts us. 5 stars or higher. That's it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
Oh, and hey, Gables.
Yeah.
Too sweet?
Too sweet.
Bye, guys.
See ya. Okay, now stop recording. Good.